Well then, we're in Oslo for the halfway point of this season. Oscar Falstad, home driver on pole from Jack Carter and UK Ball. Then it's Revo in 4th, Sebastian Ocampo in 5th, then Bastian Tan in 6th. P. Sierra starts 7th from T. Gallo and Anot Cui. Then it's David Camino starting 10th, followed up by Akari Lopez and Jonathan Sims. Leo starts 13th from Tommy and teammate Ina Pamnas Jr. Then it's Daf Sanchez starting 16th, Santino Milan in 17th, then it's Cici, Daniel Bogdasarov, Cosmos, the two dragons of Lewis Olsen and Miguel de Souza, looking as if they're going to try and take the same strategy. We'll see how that turns out, but for the man who starts on pole, it's his home race. Falstad still looking for more redemption. All 5 lights go on. And we go green here in Oslo, and that's not the greatest of starts for both front row men. I think Falstad should be able to. Yes, he does hold on to the lead. Other home driver Lewis Olsen getting a 5-second time penalty coming through turn 1. Revo finds himself ahead of UK Ball. Leo also getting a time penalty on board with the number 30 driver for Aurelio Pinnacle, as his teammate then cutting him off further ahead. T. Gabo having a brilliant run up in 7th, Virgin Renault Racing and brought with them some updates, as out of the race has gone Tommy. His tyres gone flying. That must have been, big shunt for the DS Virgin, the DS Venturi driver, rather. Not DS Virgin, that's the purple guys. But on lap 1, Oscar Falstad holds on to the race lead with countryman Lewis Olsen, number 20, currently down in 20th. And that Renault powertrain, they say they've upgraded it, and it's really working to one of the 4 drivers that they power and their benefits. Leo's coming into the pits, he's lost part of his front wing, so it looks like while he wasn't likely involved with Tommy's incident, he might have been. Either way, must have been a pretty big shunt. Cosmos has found his way ahead of Lewis Olsen in the number 20. One Norwegian leads the way, the other one finds himself in 20th and almost last. Not quite last, thankfully, before the home fans watching their drivers try and win a race once again this season, with Miguel de Souza, the Brazilian number 79, trying to defend from Cosmos. That's the driver behind him. Oscar Falstad setting his fastest second sector of anyone, as in that second sector, season 14 champion Sebastian Ocampo's hit the wall, and he's hit it pretty hard. Hasn't got too much damage. You can see there are floodlights on some parts of the track. There are a lot more floodlights when it's raining, I've noticed. Like, if you go back to Rome, there were floodlights on the front stretch when it was raining. Not as much when it wasn't, but you know, that might just be us focusing more on the racing thing. But Leo certainly making up the back of the pack. It's not impossible to close up, but for a man like Revo, he's leading this championship by 10 points over his teammate. We might see an inter-team battle here between the man going for his 3rd title and the man going for his 1st. So for Revo currently, he'd like to try and take 3 on the bounce, but it's all about what this man can do to stop him. As in that 3rd sector! Oh, he's just set the fastest second sector of anyone, but Oscar Falstad's hit the wall. He hit the wall. Someone else has gone off, and that is Daniel Bogdasarov, and he is out at the exact same turn. He hit the wall much harder than the reigning vice champion. Into the pits comes said vice champion, and for Oscar Falstad at his home Prix, this is not how he wanted to have his first 3 laps go. He's had to come in. He's going on to the mediums probably 3 laps earlier, so he's going to have a massive tire offset, and he might find himself. He started this race in front. If he recovers as much as someone like I'm just naming names here, Daniel Bogdasarov in his current machinery, he would probably make his way to the top 7, maybe top 5. I don't know if Falstad's going to be able to win his own race, which is sad, because coming into this race, all odds were on the Norwegian number 4 driver, you wouldn't have bet against him. As we see T. Gabbo getting passed by Sebastian Ocampo, another driver who hit the wall coming through that turn. As we see David Camino trying to make some boxing moves, and out of the race has gone Miguel de Souza. Same turn. Similar incident, we believe. Yeah, it's the same thing that took out Daniel Bogdasarov. We haven't been going on board with these drivers, sadly, but we can't really predict the crash. But we look to Revo now, as we're under virtual safety car conditions once again. His teammate currently leads this race. As it would stand, Jack Carter would retake the lead of the championship. It's been a real duel between the two DS automobile drivers, who I think we can officially announce this now. DS Automobile to become DS Techeetah for season 19 and 20. But I do have to say, I do like the livery that they've got for this season. It's not bad at all. It is very simplistic and very French, if you ask me. As you can see, coming through that chicane, your race leader, Jack Carter, doing a brilliant job out there. Close to the wall, however, you don't want to skim that wall too much. You'll end up like Falstad. As you can see there, Akari being passed by countryman Dav Sanchez, and oh, that's a massive shunt! Lewis Olsen's out of the E-Prix! Lewis Olsen! Both Dragon drivers will not finish this race, and it's even worse for Lewis. This is his home E-Prix. And Cosmos involved in that heavily as well. Think he must have been spun. One of the two must have been spun by the other, but my God, that's airborne for the Norwegian driver. Drivers coming in then further back down the pack to change tyres with a virtual safety car. They get a cheaper pit stop with the VSCs compared to just staying out and waiting for the regular pit window. And Falstad now finds himself up in 10th on the back. Now past CC, up into 9th goes the Norwegian on a mission. He's got to try and put in one of those Viking drives that we've seen from Marcus Nelson. He's looking to the outside of Santino Milan. He's going to get attack mode here. He's in a little bit of an attack mode train. He's going to have to try and take the inside, which becomes the outside, which becomes the inside rather. And he does make the move stick. That's 8th place for Falstad. Santino Milan drops to 10th. Falstad still trying to make a move on Iron Badness Jr., but coming through the final turn, it's not quite going to happen for him yet. As behind Santino Milan, look at that, he's found himself up into 9th. Can he find himself in 8th? That's too close to the back of the McLaren man. As an QE fighting with Akari. David Camino setting a fastest third sector of anyone on lap 7 of 18. He's got 11 laps left to go. With the top three still being Carter, Ukable, and Revo. Once again, if it finishes as this, Carter would lead the championship going into the second half of the season. On board with an QE then, in the number 25 Mahindra car, Falstad further back, fighting up the order. He's found his way up into 7th. You know what? His race isn't quite over yet. It's not over yet for Falstad. I still think he might be able to win his own race. As you can see, still defending from Akari. He's got a track limits warning for that. You get 4 of those, and you get a time penalty. Revo and Ocampo both come into pit lane with the top 2 still out there. Yellow's in the 3rd sector, and that is for Leo, who's hit the wall and lost part of his front wing. Dav Sanchez not involved in that in any meaningful manner, with Santino Milan now coming into the pits. Revo's coming out of the pits on mediums. Carter, Ukable, Falstad, when they pit again, in the case of Falstad, they're going to come out of the pits on soft tyres, which will see him have a shorter tyre life of around about 6-7 laps compared to the mediums, which tyre testing has told us can do about 10 laps. In other words, Falstad has to pit again. The tyres he's on will take him to lap 14, and then it's going to be very dangerous. As we look back with Ukable, there's a 12-second gap between him and Oscar Falstad. But coming through the final turn, Jack Carter, second Danish Formula E Monopoly Championship race winner, starts lap 9 of 18. And is that the wall? That is the wall for a driver further back, and that was the wall, we believe, for David Camino. Dav Sanchez giving a track limits warning Looking back at PCR, he's not got damage. It's for Baroness Jr. It seems Akari's coming to pit road, and he's also got a little bit of damage. In comes Baroness Jr. 33% tire wear. He pushed the limits of those soft tires, and of course those limits can only be pushed so much. Don't think he could have done any more laps. But drivers who are doing more laps than we would have expected, Jack Carter, for example. Revo, just going to touch on his mediums. DS Automobiles are looking into the performance of Jack Carter while thinking about Revo here. Sky getting a little bit darker, so of course if it does begin to rain, well, I guess Revo's title chances are a little bit fucked then. He would currently lose out, 25-point swing, and his teammate would be leading 15 points ahead of him. Carter coming across the line, still not pitting, but UKable does. Is there? Oh, you can see floodlights definitely up and on a lot more. So staying on board, what more tires are going on there? Those are red walled soft tires going onto UKable's car. As further back as Falstad gets himself up into second, Santino Milan has hit the wall and lost part of his front wing. He's lost his entire front wing, sorry. Baroness Jr. currently in 17th then. As we see Cosmos peel into pit lane. What tires are going on there? Once again, red-walled softs. Jack Carter is leading this race from the two McLarens. Falstad doing his absolute best to try and have a brilliant comeback drive. And hopefully all goes well. Santino Milan having to come in for a second stop, which should see him to the end of the race unless he gets a puncture. As we're on board with the home driver who's seen himself in the thick of it. There's been a little bit of adversity thrown his way, but he finds himself back up in second now. All he needs now is for his team to pull off master stroking strategy. If I'm in the strategy rooms down at McLaren, as we can see this brilliant squabble over position here involving UKable and Revo, but we're looking to UKable now. Carter and Anarchy have come in, so this is a fight for fifth, possibly even fourth as Carter comes out of the pits. Where is he in relation to Revo? He's ahead of him, but UKable's jumped him either way. UKable currently has the net race lead of this E3, and I think Jack Carter might have actually stayed out a little too long for his mediums compared to what they can actually do with good performance. But now Carter's going to be the only one of the top three, the net top three, who are guaranteed to make it to the end of the race. Babness Jr. set a fastest lap, a sub 1 minute lap time. Oscar Falstad is leading this race from his teammates, with Bastian Tan still trying to look for a way past. Something tells me this man is going to come into the pits pretty soon, and that's going to be a conversation that the guys down at McLaren TGL don't want to have. As P. Sierra gets himself a 5-second time penalty, that's for causing a collision with Sebastian Ocampo, who looks to try and get past CC. Falstad's been passed by his teammate. Bastian Tan had to go off the track to do that. UKable's got a fastest lap of the E3, but he's been passed by Jack Carter. He's looking for a way past. He sees the inside line. That's the intuition of a Season 10 championship for you. UKable takes fourth, and if he can, he might even be able to go for P3 too. With 6 laps to go, this is anyone's race at this point. If you look to the front of the pack, there's a 2-horse race for the lead between teammates. Jack Carter and UKable were squabbling it out for fourth, but I think Carter might have actually just seen himself hold on to that position. They've got a tackman on Gabo ahead. Gabo falling back then, and he's going to go side by side with UKable. UKable had to go off the track to get past Gabo, acting as a little bit of a stopgap with 6 laps left to run. And someone's coming in now. Oscar Falstad had to come in for a second stop. Well, wouldn't want to say that I told you so, but it just looked like that collision had to guarantee him a 2-stopper instead of what seems to be the winning strategy here, a 1-stop race. On board with Carter, he's on 83%. As we look to Bastian Tan, he's on 45. Gabo is on 55. This might actually be a 2-stopper. Falstad's found himself with a tyre offset, but it's a tyre offset that might see him win this race. I'm not sure. I'm not a strategist. I'm just a commentator. Well, an amateur one. But we look to Bastian Tan in the number 22, getting very close to the wall. on corner exit. You got this 3-horse fight for the lead. If Carter and UK can just pull themselves into Vastiantan's wake a little more, but no! Vastiantan comes into the pits. 4 laps to go here in Oslo. And it's Jack Carter who leads this E-Prix from UK and T Gabo, making the most of the brand new version in Renault powertrain in the back of that purple and silver car with splashes of red. So the question is, between these two, who do you think is going to win this race? If you were to ask me, you're looking at a currently unproven talent, a man who's currently won a handful of races, but is still yet to win a title. But then you've got another one, UK Ball, a man who's had his first title won. He wants to win another. He might have to wait until season 19 to do it, but if he can string together a perfect second half of the season, one of the most dominant second runs in championship history, which has saved a driver he's been partnered with before with 3 laps to go, he might still be able to be in this title fight. Heck, he might be able to make it a 3-way fight for the championship. And Sebastian Ocampo comes into the pit lane. But my oh my, going into London with fan boost votes. By the way, vote for fan boost in the description. Top 3 drivers will be able to get a full power boost for just the London E-Prix. CC's coming to the pits, and we have decided that Fanboost is just going to replace the playoffs in terms of making the final few races exciting. Because the playoffs are cool and all, but it does kind of lead to a undeserving champion in some of the simulated runs that we've done before. Of course, when we used it in season 15, it led to the champion of that season actually taking it, and you can see a continental battle with 2 Italians fighting over third, and Gabo defending from Revo as if his seat was on the line. He's going to get attack mode as the number 7 driver, but with 2 laps to go, where's Revo going to place his car as David Cameron comes into pit lane? Down the inside goes the reigning double champion. Up into 3rd position goes the reigning double champion. Just said that he had the number 1. Just saying that he is running with the car number 1. Daf Sanchez has set a fastest lap, 58.316. There are only a handful of races on the calendar where you will see sub 1 minute lap times being posted consistently. You see them at Sao Paulo, you see them in Punta del Este, and you will see them in Oslo. Cosmos has come in for a second stop as well. Jack Carter, the man currently leading the E-Prix, we don't know if he's going to make a second stop. One of the DS automobile cars is going to make a second stop, and it's going to be Jack Carter. UK Ball's taking the lead of this E-Prix. Carter's had to relinquish it due to his team not having the utmost confidence in his tyres. This is going to allow Revo to get up into second, I believe. No, he's going to be 3rd because Falstad's passed him. T Gabo comes into pit lane. Carter's going to come out of the pits. Might be 5th here. He is 5th. That is Vastiantan who's got ahead. And you know what? Enoch Huey smells a 5th place here. Not quite. No, he doesn't. He's dropped off the back of Carter quite a bit after he's come out of the pits. Of course, a little bit of brake testing possibly. As Oscar Falstad, by the way, he's got the net race lead. He's technically the man favorite to win this race. As out of the pits comes Leo after his 3rd stop, but it's the penultimate lap. And UK Ball is looking to try and win in Oslo from the home driver Oscar Falstad, and the man who currently leads the championship in Revo. But with Vastiantan behind him, you think that the man who's had a lot thrown at him, do you think he finally feels a little bit of pressure? It's the last lap here in Norway, and it's UK Ball who leads the way. Vastiantan makes it a 2-3 for DS McLaren TGR on the final lap to start it. Falstad and Vastiantan are currently 2-3, and this puts Jack Carter in a brilliant position to try and get some points on his teammate. Those mediums for Revo must have finally had enough with how long he was going. There goes Jack Carter up into P4. And I think Revo's just going to have to try and settle for P5. He's not fighting for 4th at all. His teammate actually might try and go for third here, but out in front. It's been a brilliant race for the Season 10 champion. He's never driven with the number 1 before, but going into Season 19, he might want to. He's going to start the second half of Season 18 with a bang. U-Cable wins the Oslo Prix, and by a crushing margin over the home driver in Oscar Falstad, who will come home with P2. He's going to be happy with that, with the adversity. And at the line, Jack Carter takes third, stealing fastest lap from Falstad. It's a 56.49. And we've got yellows in the third sector, and that was fired at Babness Jr. What a finish! 6/10, that's all it was between Carter and Bastien Tan. 6/10 might be the difference between Revo taking a third title and not. Leo's hit the wall, and he's lost part of his front wing, so we're gonna keep with him. So yes, that's U-Cable winning from Falstad and Jack Carter. Do you ever notice that whenever a non-DS automobile powered driver wins, it's always U-Cable? But yes, U-Cable takes home his second race win in front of him, well, behind him, I guess. 2 Vikings, Oscar Falstad and Jack Carter. Falstad not quite being able to win his home race from pole, but a second place after all of that must feel like something at least. Then it's Bastien Tan, Revo, and Anot Kiwi. Then it's the 2 Andretti Hondas of Daf Sanchez and Sebo Campo. Jonathan Sims comes home with P9. Then it's T Gabo in 10th. Then it's Babness Jr., David Camno, CC, P Sierra, Akari Lopez, Cosmos, Santino Milan, and Leo. With your non-finishers being Lewis Olsen, Miguel de Souza, Daniel Bogdasarov, and Tommy. In the driver standings, Revo leads the championship, but he's only a handful of points ahead of teammate Jack Carter, just 5 points ahead. That means that if Carter wins next time out, he's going to lead the championship no matter what. But 30 points back from the championship leader is U-Cable, trying to make a championship comeback for the ages. Falstad finds himself up in 4th from Daf Sanchez and Bastien Tan. Then it's Babness Jr., Santino Milan, David Camino, and Sebastian Ocampo. Not looking as if he's going to take a title this season, unfortunately. Then it's Tommy, Miguel de Souza, P Sierra, CC, Anot Kiwi, Cosmos, Akari Lopez, Jonathan Sims, and T Gabo tied with his teammate Daniel Bogdasarov, with your non-point scorers after half of the season being Lewis Olsen and Leo. So in the constructor standings, heading into race number 4 at Marina Bay, DS Automobiles leads the way on 237 points from DS McLaren TGR on 151. Then it's One Honda GP on 129 points. Then it's Andretti Honda on 126. DS Venturi find themselves on 94 points. Then it's Nissan Nismo on 66. Aurelio Mahindra on 39, Sims Motorsport Nissan on 35, Dragon Renault on 30 points, then it's Aurelio Pinnacle on 17 points, and Virgin Renault on 2 points. We'll see you guys next time then when the Formula E Monopoly Championship returns.